Okay, I would like you all to take a look at these two sentences. The first one is the car that belongs to Jim has small wheels. There you see Jim with his car. And the second one, the house that is owned by Cassie is round the corner. Alright, specifically, I would like you all to take a look at these portions of the sentences. Alright, the car that belongs to Jim, the house that is owned by Cassie. Now, I don't need to say all that to indicate that the car is owned by Jim or that Cassie is the one who owns the house. I can shorten these to Jim's car has small wheels, and the second one I can shorten that to Cassie's house is around the corner. Alright? Now, take a look at these two sentences. The first one is the sister of Joan knows what it takes to get ahead. There's the sister of Joan all smiley and upbeat about what she's going to do next, professionally perhaps. Yeah? And the second sentence is the grandmother of Fabio seems least interested in politics. And there's the grandmother over there, knitting away to glory with nary a care about what's happening in the world. Alright, no problem about that. What I need you all to do at this point in time is focus, again, specifically on these portions of the sentences. The sister of Joan, the grandmother of Fabio. Year 2, I can shorten these to Joan's sister and Fabio's grandmother. Alright? In the first two sentences, we had expressions that spoke about a thing that belonged to or was owned by someone. The car that belongs to Jim, and we had the house that is owned by Cassie. Now, in such cases, when you have such kind of expressions, you can shorten them, you can make them much more crisp. And how you can do that? You can place the owner first and what he or she or that thing is associated with afterwards. Now, in this case, in the first instance, we have the car that belongs to Jim. So clearly Jim owns the car, so you place Jim first and the car afterwards. Jim's car. The same rule applies for the house that is owned by Cassie. Clearly Cassie owns the house, so Cassie first, house afterwards. Cassie's house. Alright, now in the second set of sentences that we discussed, we had expressions that spoke about relationships. There were people who were related to other people. There was the sister of Joan and the grandmother of Fabio. You see them here all over again. Alright, now in this case also you spoke about the sister of Joan. So Joan first, sister afterwards. Joan's sister. The same goes for the grandmother of Fabio. Fabio first, grandmother afterwards. Fabio's grandmother. You may have noticed that this symbol has made these expressions possible. You'll see this symbol in Jim's car, Cassie's house, Joan's sister, and Fabio's grandmother. This symbol is known as the apostrophe. And together with the S, it allows you to talk about things that belong to someone and relationships between people. This is what we call possession. And you can use this construction, which the apostrophe makes available, to talk about emotions and feelings and characteristics that are associated or belong to an entity or an individual or to an animal. It could be anything. Let's take another example. The feelings of Roger for Amanda are not yet known. Okay, now here we're talking about the feelings of Roger, so those feelings belong to Roger. So I'll place Roger first, then I'll put an apostrophe, then I'll write in an S, then of course there'll be a space, and then there'll be feelings, because I'm talking about the feelings that belong to Roger, so it'll be Roger's feelings. Roger's feelings for Amanda are not yet known. Okay? Alright, now let's take another example. The sadness of the dog became worse with each passing day. Now again over here I'm talking about the sadness that belongs to the dog. We see quite a cute little dog over there. Oh no, he's not quite little, pretty big in stature. But yes, he's sad, that's for sure. So now this dog is rather sad, and you're talking about the sadness that belongs to this dog. So the dog first, who is the owner of the sadness, so to say, then the apostrophe, the S, then there's a space, of course, and then there's sadness, and you have the dog's sadness. So the dog's sadness became worse at each passing day. Alright, take a look at this one. The sturdiness of iron makes the metal ideal for railway tracks. Sturdiness is a characteristic of iron. It indicates the huge amount of strength that iron as a metal has. So the sturdiness of iron makes the metal ideal for railway tracks. Again, sturdiness is a characteristic of iron. So iron first, then an apostrophe, then an S, then sturdiness, iron sturdiness. So iron sturdiness makes the metal ideal for railway tracks. Alright, now that we have gone through an entire gamut of sentences that have helped us understand how to use the apostrophe to indicate possession, here is a set of sentences that you can try that upon. Alright, I would encourage you to pause the video, take a minute each for these sentences, write down what you think could be possible answers to these, and once you have written them down, you can press play to check how you fared in this exercise. So go ahead, pause the video, work on these sentences, and then you can take a look at the answers. Okay, let's discuss these sentences. Okay, the first one is pretty straightforward, the cover of the iPod. So you're talking about a cover that belongs to the iPod. So iPod first, an apostrophe, then an S, then you have the cover, iPod's cover. Pretty straightforward. In the second sentence, we are talking about a large hall of the mansion. So a large hall that sort of belongs to the mansion. So, well, the mansion will come first, then an apostrophe, then an S, and then large hall. Not only the hall, but large hall, because the large hall belongs to the mansion. So the mansion's large hall. Alright. Now, in this third sentence, we have two contenders. We have the gun that belonged to the guard and the room of Somersby. So the same rule applies over here. You're talking about a gun that is owned by a guard. So owner, the guard first, then an apostrophe, then an S, and then the gun. And the same applies to the room of Somersby. Somersby first, then an apostrophe, then an S, and then room. So the final answer would be they slipped the guard's gun into Somersby's room. Okay, moving on to the fourth. You have two contenders here again, the brother of Regis and you have the mother of Gerald. Again, the same rule applies. The brother of Regis, so Regis's brother, Regis, apostrophe, then an S, and then the brother. And in the case of the mother of Gerald, Gerald, then an apostrophe, then an S, and then mother. So Regis's brother, Gerald's mother. Now I'd like to spend some time discussing the answer to the fifth sentence in detail. Alright, we have the cushions of the cars were made with an intention to displease their passengers. So, well, yeah, we're talking about the cushions of the cars. Alright, now if we were to be talking about the cushions of a car or the car, just one car, then of course we would follow the rule and that would change to the cars or a car's cushions, where you would definitely need an S after the apostrophe. Alright, that's usually the rule that we follow. But in the case of the fifth sentence, you're talking about cars, several cars, right? The word itself indicates that you're talking about more than one car, and the word also ends with an S. Very, very important points. Watch out for such words. Words that indicate that they're talking about more than one thing and ending with an S. In such cases, all you have to do is put an apostrophe after the word. So in this case you have cars, just put an apostrophe after cars. You do not need an S after the apostrophe in such cases. Alright, so the answer in this case would be the car's cushions, no S after the apostrophe, were made with an intention to displease their passengers. Alright, so before we go, let's take a quick look at what we looked at in this session. We spoke about the apostrophe and how it can be used to indicate possession, and possession is something that you use to talk about things or aspects, feelings, emotions, characteristics, etc. that might be associated with a thing or an animal or an individual or a person. Could be anyone. In addition to that, you can also use a possession, which the apostrophe makes available, to talk about relationships between people. We spoke about Joan's sister and Fabio's grandmother. You could also talk about Harry's father in the same manner. All right. So that's how you use the apostrophe to describe possession, to talk about possession. Okay, so that's all I have for you this time. Thank you so much for staying with me right up until the end of this session. You've been wonderful to do that. And I hope to see you soon. So take care for now and goodbye.